Dear friends, this is the lecture number 7 of vector. In the previous lecture, we discussed about dot product, and today we'll discuss about cross product. What's the other name of cross product? I have told you in the previous lecture. That's also called vector product. Why cross product is also called as a vector product? Because when two vectors are multiplied by cross symbol, the result is another vector. So cross product is also called as vector product. If I multiply two vectors, a vector by cross symbol, we will get another vector. We will get another vector. Hence, its name is vector product. But what is the magnitude of this? What is the magnitude of this cross product? Magnitude of cross product is A mod B mod sin theta. Magnitude of cross product is A mod B mod sin theta. You just compare with the dot product. What was the answer of a dot product? A mod B mod cos theta. The only difference between dot product and cross product magnitude is there is cos theta, but here is sin theta. So if you do the comparison, if you remember the comparison, you can able to easily remember the formula for dot product and cross product. But extra thing is here, as the result is a vector. So we'll write this A mod B mod sin theta. This is the magnitude part and n cap. So we can tell A cross B is equal to A mod B mod sin theta n cap, where n cap is the direction of the result vector, that is the C vector. I can also write C cap, no problem. So that's the symbol, don't take it seriously. So that is n cap. The direction of the result vector, that represents the direction of the result vector. But where is the direction of that result vector? Where is the direction of C vector? C vector is always perpendicular to the plane containing A vector and B vector. C vector is always perpendicular to the plane containing A vector and B vector. So we can tell C vector perpendicular to A vector and C vector perpendicular to B vector. Perpendicular to the plane containing A vector and B vector means perpendicular to A vector as well as a perpendicular to B vector. But you compare this one with the addition of vectors, so that also you can able to remember it easily. What comparison? When two vectors are added, what result we get? What result we get? That lie in the same plane. That lie in the same plane of the vectors. If two vectors, suppose one is A vector, one is B vector, like this, the angle between them is theta. When these two vectors are added, the result also lie on the same plane, means on the whiteboard plane. But if two vectors are multiplied by cross symbol, the result is not lying in the same plane. Rather, it is perpendicular to this whiteboard plane. Perpendicular means where is the direction of C vector? It can be like this, outward. It can be like this, outward. Or it can be like this, inward. Perpendicular means we understand two ways. One may be perpendicular like this, one may be perpendicular like this, can be outward, can be inward. But exactly what I want to know? We want to know exactly where is the direction perpendicular, but exactly outward or inward? How can we determine that one? That one we can determine by right hand thumb rule. Right hand thumb rule, all of you see, this is the your right hand thumb rule, this is the thumb, this is the all other fingers. So what happens if you are drawing the cross product from A to B, A vector cross B vector, first A then B. If you are doing from A to B, so then your thumb, your finger curl like this, fingers curl like this, then the thumb where it is directed, so that is the direction of result vector C vector. If you are doing A vector cross B vector like this, the direction of C vector is outward. Outward is always given by dot symbol. Then if A vector is here, B vector is here, you are doing the cross product from B to A. From B to A, if you are doing the cross product from B to A, now you see right hand thumb rule. You see the fingers go along the direction of a cross product. Where is the thumb? Where is the thumb going? Thumb is going inward. So here direction of C vector is inward. Cross symbol means perpendicular to the plane inward. Dot means perpendicular to the plane outward. So direction of this cross product we can determine by right hand thumb rule. Also by another rule where the cross product is practically applied, not only right hand thumb rule. The question is coming to your mind. Every algebra of vector or every operation of a vector is just brought from the day-to-day life. Addition, flying bird, dot product, work done. Similarly, from where the cross product is brought from the day-to-day life. Yes, it is also applied in our day-to-day life. From where it is brought? Maxwell's corkscrew rule. Screw. What happens when suppose you think here is a screw? Okay, here is a screw. You think, then you fit the screwdriver like this. You fit the screwdriver here and rotate it in the direction of a cross product. Like this you rotate. You now see my fingers. Like this you rotate. If I rotate like this, where the screw will go? Screw will go inward or screw will come outward. Now you see, if I am doing like this, you can now think the answer. Where the screw will go? I am doing like this. Doing like this. The screw will come outward. The screw will come outward. That is Maxwell's corkscrew rule. Okay, so direction of the C vector is outward. So when you tight a screw or when you open a screw, that means you are practically doing the cross product. Practically you are doing the cross product there. So that is the practical life application of cross product. You come to this. You fit the screwdriver here. Screw is at this point. Fit the screwdriver. You do like this. Now rotate it in the direction of a cross product. So where the screw will go? Screw will go inward or outward? Screw will go inward. Screw will go inward. Screw will be tight. Screw will be tight. Screw will go inward. So here Maxwell's corkscrew rule. That is the direction of the C vector. So you can determine the direction of the result vector in the cross product by either right hand thumb rule or by Maxwell's corkscrew rule. But one thing is clear. When you do A vector cross B vector, the result is directed outward. But when you do B vector cross A vector, the result is directed inward. That means the result of A cross B is not equal to B cross A. It's very clear. It's very clear. The result of A cross B is not equal to B cross A. It's very clear. How? So you will see magnitude wise, then A cross B magnitude is equal to B cross A magnitude. Because this is AB sin theta, this is AB sin theta, no problem. But if we'll say direction, if we'll see direction, both directions are opposite. Both directions are opposite. So A cross B is not equal to B vector cross A vector. Rather, what we can write? We can write A vector cross B vector is equal to minus of B vector cross A vector. Minus of, because both are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. So what concluding statement we can write here? What concluding statement we can write here? A cross B is not equal to B cross A. What is this? Cross product is not commutative. This operation of a vector cross product is not commutative. But if you think about addition, A vector plus B vector is equal to B vector plus A vector. Vector addition is commutative. If you see A vector dot B vector is equal to B vector dot A vector. So dot product of two vectors is also commutative. But cross product of two vectors is not commutative. So this is about the result of the cross product. You will now remember A cross B is equal to AB sin theta n cap, where the direction of n cap can be determined by right hand thumb rule or Maxwell's corkscrew rule, and it is always perpendicular to A vector as well as B vector. As theta is there, so we will not leave this without discussing its special cases. Now let's come to theta is equal to 0 or 180. Means two vectors are either parallel or antiparallel. So what happens in that case? A vector cross B vector, sine 0 or sine 180, this is 0. So null vector, this is 0. This is the condition of what? If cross product is equal to 0, then the angle between these two vectors is either 0 or 180. Means either they are parallel or they are antiparallel. Parallel or antiparallel combinedly they are called as what? Collinear. Collinear. So can we say if the cross product of two vectors is equal to 0, then the two vectors are collinear. So this we can remember as condition of collinearity. Condition of collinearity, either they are parallel or they are antiparallel. But you remember, you compare this expression with the dot product. If A vector dot B vector is equal to 0, then what is your conclusion? Two vectors are perpendicular to each other. But if A cross B is equal to 0, then two vectors are collinear. But you cannot sure whether they are parallel or antiparallel. You cannot say whether they are parallel or antiparallel. You can say they are collinear, you can say. But you can't demand whether they are parallel or antiparallel. We can't able to determine. That's the lacuna here. So this is the case number 1. Now case number 2, theta equal to 90 degree. So A cross B is equal to, this is AB sin 90 is 1. So this is A mod, B mod, we can write simply AB n cap. So this is the maximum value. Maximum value of cross product. So this is the special cases of cross product. Now we come to cross product of two equal vectors. Two equal vectors. A vector cross A vector. Let's put the formula A mod, B mod means same. A mod, B mod means that one. Sin 0 n cap. Why 0? Because angle between A and A is 0. So that's the sin 0. So this is 0. Sin 0 is 0. So this is 0 n cap. So when one vector is multiplied by cross sign with itself, then the result is coming 0. Okay, so this is about the cross product of equal vectors. Then come to cross product of unit vectors. Unit vectors cross product, I cap cross I cap, A mod, B mod, sin 0, n cap. I put the formula here. So this is 1, sin 0 is 0, n cap. So this is null vector. So I cap cross I cap is equal to 0. Similarly, j cap cross j cap is equal to 0. K cap cross k cap is equal to 0. So these are the cross product of same equal unit vectors cross product. But if I do I cap cross j cap, then I cap mod, j cap mod, sin 90, then n cap. So this is 1, you know unit vector magnitude is 1, this is 1, this is n cap. So answer is coming n cap. But where is the direction of this n cap? N cap must be perpendicular to I cap and j cap. Must be perpendicular to I cap and j cap. According to our cross product rule, if it is perpendicular to I cap and j cap, so this is actually which cap? Which cap remain? Which is perpendicular to I and j? That is which cap? So this is nothing but your k cap. So I cap cross j cap is equal to k cap, because k cap is perpendicular to I cap and j cap. Then this is I cross j. So you can do just the reverse, j cap cross I cap. Just I change the order. Just before I told you, A vector cross B vector is equal to minus of B vector cross A vector. If we change the order, then we have to write one minus sign here, minus k cap. Then j cap cross k cap. Similarly, if we do, we will get I cap. Just change the order, k cap cross j cap minus I cap. Similarly, k cap cross I cap. This is j cap. If you change the order, then we will get minus j cap. So these are the cross product of unit vectors, and you have to remember the cross product. To proceed to the next step, you have to remember this. So when anybody will ask you the cross product, immediately the answer should come out from your mouth. You see, I cross I 0, j cross j 0, j cross k cross I j, I cap cross k cap minus j cap. You have to mock up this to do the future questions. But the problem is, now you are thinking that how will remember this? How will remember this? Is there any easy trick to remember this cross product? Yes, I am telling you that trick. One easy trick is there to remember the cross product. This is called the wagon wheel. This is called wagon wheel. In this wagon wheel, you can find all the cross product. You remember this one, it will help you a lot. You remember the order always. The order is I cap, then j cap, then k cap. This is the order. After I, j come, after j, k comes, after k, I comes. So this the anti-clockwise direction is the proper direction in physics. This is the anti-clockwise direction. This is the proper direction. Whenever you move in anti-clockwise direction, you will get the answer positive. But when you move clockwise direction, you will get the answer negative. You see, I cross j. Come, I cross j. The answer is next one, k cap. J cross I. The answer, sorry, j cross k, j cap cross k cap. The answer is I cap. K cap cross I cap. Answer is j cap. You have to move like this. Again, I am telling you, I cross j, k cap, j cap cross k cap, I cap, k cap cross I cap, j cap. If you go in reverse, j cross k, j cross I is minus k, because you are going in reverse direction. I cross k minus j, k cross j minus I, because you are going in reverse direction. And whenever you will not move, the answer will be 0. I cap cross I cap, you are not moving anywhere, 0. J cap cross j cap, 0. K cap cross k cap, 0. This is the wagon wheel which will help you to remember all the cross products. To remember all the cross products, this wagon wheel now will help you. So now we'll do the cross product of position vectors. How we'll do the cross product of position vectors, but this wagon wheel will help you. So let's draw this wagon wheel here. I cap, j cap, k cap. This one will help you. So now we'll do position vector. A vector, ax I cap, ay j cap, az k cap. Then b vector, bx I cap, by j cap, bz k cap. We'll do a vector cross b vector. So first a vector, write az k cap cross b vector, bx I cap, by j cap, bz k cap. So is equal to ax I cap. We'll use distributive law here. Distributive formula will use. First one, then total. Bx I cap, by j cap, bz k cap. Then second one, ay j cap cross bx I cap, by j cap, bz k cap. Then plus az k cap cross. Whenever any multiplication come, then you have to put cross symbol. So bx I cap, by j cap, bz k cap. So now you multiply x bx I cap cross I cap. So this is 0. Then x by ax by I cap cross j cap. So this is k cap. Ax bz ax bz I cap cross k cap. This is I cap cross k cap. You see, this is I cap, this is k cap. You are going in reverse direction. So this is minus j cap. So this part is over. Then come to this one. So first with this one, ay bx. So this is j cap cross I cap, means j cap cross I cap, we are going in reverse direction. So minus k cap. Then the second one, ay by j cap cross j cap, it's a 0. Then the third one, ay bz. Then this is what? J cap cross k cap. So that is I cap. Then plus. I am writing here plus. See, az k cap, bx I cap. So az bx. K cap cross I cap. So this is k cap cross I cap. This is j cap. Then az by k cap cross j cap. So this is k cap cross j cap. This is minus I cap. And az bz k cap cross k cap, it is 0. So now you take common. So I cap, take common. What you are getting? See, where is I cap? Where is I cap? You see, here is I cap. Ay bz minus AZ BY. J cap take common, what you are getting? AZ BX minus AX BZ. K cap take common, then what you are getting? AX BY minus AY BX. So this is the final formula of A vector cross B vector, and you have to remember this formula. You have to mug up this formula to do the questions in exam. A vector cross B vector is equal to this one. This long formula you have to remember. Can you mug up this formula, or you will face problem to mug up this? Then the question is coming to your mind, sir, is there any trick? Because it's such a long formula, how will you remember? Yes. Also there is a trick I will tell you now. So it is not required to mug up. If you remember the trick, then anytime, anywhere, anybody will ask you, you can able to tell the formula without thinking a second. So now I am telling you what is the trick to write this formula. I am showing you that trick. You see. So the order is, remember always the order is first I, then J, then K, then I. And in axis, first X, then Y, then Z, then X. Okay. So we'll start the answer. A vector cross B vector is equal to, first we start from I cap. If this is I cap means this is which axis? X axis. If this is X axis, so next is Y. So next is Y. After Y what comes? Next is Z. X, Y, Z. Then just reverse it. Just reverse. Over, after I cap what comes? J cap. After I cap it comes J cap. So if J cap, this is Y. After Y what comes? This is Z. After Z, X. Then just reverse it. X, B, Z. After J what comes? K cap. This is Z axis. If this is Z, after Z what comes? X. X, BY minus AY, BX. So this is the formula. If we compare this formula with this long formula, everything is just same. You can remember it like this. First X axis means I cap, after that Y, Z. Then change order. First then Y axis, J cap, then Z X. Then Z axis, then after that, after Z X come, X, Y. This is the trick to remember the formula. Another way is also there. Without remembering this formula, also you can able to do by determinant method. What is determinant? Determinant and matrices is a chapter in mathematics. There is also a chapter of mathematical physics. So determinant will be taught to you by your mathematics teachers, but I am telling a little about that because you know mathematics is the language of physics, and here we have to remember also some determinant. I am just telling you for 2 minutes this one. Okay, then you can able to remember, you can able to find the cross product without remembering the formula. If this cross product is given to you, you will write it by determinant method. I cap, J cap, K cap. Then AX, AY, AZ. Then BX, BY, BZ. Now this is the cross product. We'll find the answer. You have to write it like this. This is called a column and this is called row. Okay. So now how from this formula comes. Now see here, how from this the formula comes here. So when you write first I cap, I am writing the answer here. When you first write the I cap, then you forget this column and this row. What remain? Only this much. So this to this, this to this. Just do the cross. So what we are getting? See, AYBZ, AYBZ, AZBY. I cap you got? Okay, then come to J cap. When the J cap comes, see here, this one I made easy. Okay, when the J cap comes, you now hide this column and this one. Then what remain? Only this remain here. See, this to this and this to this. So what it comes? AX BZ minus AZ BX. Then plus K cap. K cap. Now when K cap comes, again I'm erasing this one, you see. Okay. This one, okay. So now you hide this part, this column. What are you getting? So this to this and this to this. So AX BY AY BX. Hope you got your formula. In this way, without remembering the formula, by the help of the determinant, you can also find the same answer. What happened? Did you get the same answer? Or any problem is here? Check properly. This is your cross product formula. This we got from the determinant. Is there a problem? Now you check it properly. Compare the two expressions. Can you find any mistakes? Where any mistakes we have done when we brought from the determinant? Yes. Where is the mistake? In J cap, this AZBX minus AXBZ. But what is here? The reverse is here in J cap. So here is the mistake. Then when we will bring from the determinant, what we have to do? We have to write here minus J cap. When we write from the determinant, we have to write here minus J cap. Now you see, if minus sign will be multiplied, it will come to this order. Now it will be 7. Then the question is coming to your mind. Just to match with the above expression, sir put a minus sign forcefully here. Actually, I have not put the minus sign forcefully. This is the rule of a determinant. When you will read in mathematics, you can able to understand that minus sign we have to put in this term. Why we put minus sign? Just I am telling you for 1 second. Here this one is written as A11. A11. This one is written as A12, and this one is written as by symbol A13. 1 stands for row, second digit stands for the column. This is for row, this is for column. This is for row, this is for column. Okay, so these are just the symbols in place of this. The A11, A12, A13. First one is row, second one is column. Sorry, first one is row, second one is column. So you have to add the row plus a column. Row plus a column will do. If it is coming order, then you have to put their minus sign. This is the rule of a determinant. You will read that in mathematics. The row plus column, you add here 1 plus 1, 2, even. But here 1 plus 2 what? 3. So it's odd. So while writing J, while writing this digit, you have to put minus sign. This one is 1 plus 3, 4. So hence it is plus. I have not put the minus sign forcefully to match with the above expression. This is the rule of determinant you will read in mathematics. So by determinant method also we can find cross product. Okay. So if I now tell to do cross product of two vectors, you can able to easily do it either by formula or by determinant method. Which one is easy for you? You adopt that one. You do that method. So let's do one question. If I give you a vector I cap plus 2j cap plus 3k cap, b vector I cap minus 2j cap plus 4k cap. Let's do the cross product. So I'm doing by determinant. I think the determinant method is seems to be easy to many students. Okay, let's do by determinant method. I'm doing this question. You first pause the video here and do it yourself. Then after some time, after completing, then you play the video. So I'm telling you, now you pause the video here. Okay, so now I'm telling you the answer of this cross product. You have to write by determinant method. You have to do like this. This x means 1. This one you see, it's 1, then 2, then 3. Here 1, then minus 2, then 4. So now do this, I cap, this to this, this to this. 2 into 4, 8, minus 3 into minus 2, so it's minus 6, it is plus 6. Then j cap, I have told you, while writing j cap, you have to put minus sign, okay? Minus sign, j cap. So now this one over, so this to this and this to this. 1 into 4, 4, minus 1 into 3, that's 3. Then come to k cap, k cap. So if you do k cap, you see what I'm doing, this to this and this to this. 1 into minus 2, that is minus 2. Then 1 into 2, that is minus 2. So now you see how easily we get the answer. So this is minus j cap and this is minus 4 k cap. Very easily we got the answer if you do in this determinant method. You can also do, if it seems too difficult for you, you can't able to know, can't able to understand this one, you can write the formula, that long formula. To write the long formula also I told you the trick. Then after that, there you put these values and get the answer. You can do also by that method. So now you understood how to find cross product of two vectors. So now I'll tell you the application of cross product. What is the application of cross product? Come to the application part now. Applications of cross product. First, number 1. We can test whether two vectors are collinear or not by cross product rule. What is the condition? A cross B is equal to 0 or null vector. If A cross B is coming 0, then the two vectors are collinear. Question will come in exam like this. Two vectors are given to you, I cap minus 2j cap plus 3k cap, B vector 2i cap minus 4j cap plus 6k cap. Test whether they are collinear or not. This is the question to you. Pause the video here. Find the cross product. If the cross product is coming 0, then they are collinear. If it is not coming 0, then they are not collinear. So you now pause the video here. Okay, so I am telling you the answer. So you have to find out the cross product. A vector cross B vector. By determinant method again, I cap, j cap, k cap, 1, minus 2, 3, this is 2, minus 4, 6. Then do here is equal to I cap. So this to this, this to this. This is minus 12. So this is plus 12. 3, 4, this is plus 12. Then minus j cap. Then do this to this and this to this. So this is 6 minus 6. Then plus k cap. Then you do plus k cap. This to this, this to this. So this is minus 4, then plus 4. The answer is coming 0. So they are collinear because we got 0. Don't forget to write the last line. They are collinear vectors. But can you tell me they are parallel or anti-parallel? You can't tell. Why? because cross product is not giving the information to us whether they are parallel or anti-parallel. Cross product is telling us whether they are collinear or not. It can't go ahead. It can't tell you that whether they are parallel or anti-parallel, but we can able to know there is another method. There is another method which can tell you whether they are parallel or anti-parallel. It's more advanced than this one, more easy than the first one, more easy than the first one. That you can tell. We can able to know. How we can able to know? You see, this is A vector, this is B vector. So now you see, B vector can be written as twice of A vector. Check it. B vector can be written as twice of A vector. You check. Okay. Now you return to your scalar multiplication of a vector. So one vector is a scalar multiple of other. This B vector is a scalar multiple of A vector, and that scalar is positive. If scalar is positive, what is the angle between them? 0. Means A vector parallel B vector. A vector is parallel to B vector. Okay, you can able to know by this method very easily without doing cross product. If you do this method also in your class exam, then nobody can cut your mark. They have to give the mark. They can't cut your mark. Very easily, only one step you can able to determine. But the problem is in some questions, this question you could able to know this is twice of A vector, but in some questions you can't able to know that the second vector is the scalar multiple of what, so that we'll get the scalar multiple of exactly which number. These two may not come as a whole number. These two may not come as a whole number. You can't able to know in that case. If you can't able to know exactly one vector is which scalar multiple, then another way is there. I am telling you method 3. Method 3, what you do? You just find the ratio ax by bx, then ay by by, then az by bz. Are they same? Are they same? Check it. If the ratio same, then you got what is the exact scalar. Okay, one vector is how much scalar multiple of other. Now exactly you got it, and here you will get the scalar. Here you will get the scalar. If it is equal to scalar, and you check that scalar is positive or negative, it is positive, they are parallel. If it is negative, they are anti-parallel. Also you can check by this. So 3 methods I told you, which one is easy for you, you do that one. I hope method 3 will work a lot, because this one is difficult to know. Multiplication of how much scalar to know is important. So this is the application number 1. Now come to application number 2. Application number 2 now I will discuss. So what is application number 2? If A vector and B vector are two sides of a triangle, suppose this is a triangle. In this triangle, this is A vector, this is B vector. Then area of this triangle is equal to half A vector cross B vector mod. Area of the triangle is equal to half A vector cross B vector mod. So this is the area of this triangle. Okay, you are not accepting this formula. You are telling that, sir, you will tell a formula like this and will accept it. Okay, we have to prove it. Whether it is coming or not, let's check. Let's prove it. Whether it is coming or not. So what you have done in the lower classes, triangle is PQR. Let's draw a perpendicular, because you know area formula is half. What you know in lower classes? Base into height, right? Base is PQ and height is RS. So half. What is PQ? See here, PQ is A. PQ is A and height is what? Height is here RS, but that height. Half base into height. So height, your base is PQ. This base PQ is equal to A, it's right. But what about the height? RS. If this angle is theta, let's take, I choose the angle as theta. If this angle is theta, then RS is how much? I had already told you. If in a right angle triangle, if theta is here, you see RS is how much? It is coming PR sin theta. RS is equal to PR sin theta. So half A. That side theta is not there, so it will be sin theta, no problem. Just like one component of a PR. Okay. So PR is how much? This is B. B sin theta. So this is half A vector cross B vector AB sin theta, nothing but mod. You got the formula? Now you believe this formula? So area of a triangle, you check it. Area of a triangle is equal to half A vector. In exam, if the question will come like this, A vector, B vector is given, find the area of the triangle, you can find the cross product first, then you put the formula, find its mod, then you put the formula, so that you will get the answer in square unit. Then application number 3. If A vector and B vector are two sides, two adjacent sides of a parallelogram. See, this is a parallelogram. This is A vector, this is B vector. Two adjacent sides of a parallelogram. Then area of a parallelogram is equal to A vector cross B vector mod. Cross B vector mod. Do you want its proof? It is not required. Why? Because this parallelogram consists of two triangles. For one triangle, what is the formula? Half A cross B mod. For two triangles, half and twice cancel, it becomes A cross B mod. So it's proved. We will use this formula to solve numericals. I am coming to application number, this is 3 over, I am coming to application number 4. If D1 vector and D2 vector are two diagonals of parallelogram, see, if this is D1 vector and this is D2 vector, so these are the two diagonals of a parallelogram, then area of a parallelogram is equal to half D1 vector cross D2 vector mod. This is the area of the parallelogram if the two diagonals are given to you. Half D1 vector cross D2 vector mod. This is the area of the parallelogram. Okay? Then you can prove it also. It's not a difficult one. So you can prove it. Just if you want, I can do it here. So how I prove? Half. What is D1? See what is D1? I have told you one very important concept. The D1 is the addition of resultant, and D2 is the subtraction resultant. This mod. Then it's coming half mod. I am doing it here. Further we will get this formula or not, I will check. Because this is area of a parallelogram is equal to half mod. Then now by distributive law you do A cross A, then minus A cross B, then B cross A. Okay, this is, then this is minus B cross B mod is equal to half, this one 0, this one 0, then this is B cross A minus A cross B. So we can write here this minus A cross B, I can write B cross A. Okay, plus this I can write, this is already B cross A is there. So it is twice, so 2 cancel, it is coming B cross A mod. But in magnitude both are same, it doesn't matter. If you see the magnitude, then it doesn't matter. So this is about the proof of this formula. Half d1 vector cross d2 vector. A cross B magnitude is equal to B cross A magnitude, so you will get the same answer. So this is about the application number 4. Now we come to application number 5. Application number 5. Suppose one triangle is here. Here is one coordinate system. Here is one coordinate system. X-axis, Y-axis, Z-axis. So this is the triangle A, B, C. A, this is the position vector of A point. This is the position of vector of B point. And C, I am showing another plane. This is the position vector of C point. If the position vector is like this, then what is the area of this triangle? What is the area of the triangle? This is half A cross B plus B cross C plus C cross A whole mod. So this is the formula of area of this triangle. You remember this formula to solve the questions. So this is about application number 5. Then cross product is used in many chapters. So you will see application number 6. Torque tau is equal to R vector cross F vector. This formula you will read in rotational motion chapter. Cross product is rigorously applied in rotational motion chapter. Okay, so tau is equal to R vector. This is the torque, this is radius vector, this is the force. Okay, this is the perpendicular distance. So we can also tell if I'll say angular momentum is also position vector cross momentum. This is also cross product is used here. So in these cases we will use the cross product when we proceed the physics to next and next chapters. So this is the applications of cross product. So this is all about cross product. In the last part of this chapter is a Lami's theorem. So now we will also discuss Lami's theorem. Lami's theorem here also we will discuss. So what is Lami's theorem? What this theorem tells? If three vectors, three forces, suppose three forces I am writing as P, Q and R. Three forces act on a body, I am writing like this. Three forces act on a body, one is P, one is Q, one is R. Three forces act on a body simultaneously, act on a point simultaneously, but the point is in equilibrium. I am telling the statement of Lami's theorem. Three forces act on a point simultaneously, but the point is in equilibrium. Then this theorem tells the ratio of magnitude of each force. You take first P to the sine of angle between other two. Between other two the angle is alpha, to the sine of angle between other two. I am telling you again the statement, listen. If three vectors act at a point simultaneously, make equilibrium. Equilibrium is the important condition here. Then the ratio of magnitude of this force to sine of angle between other two. If you go to this one, then Q by sine of angle between other two is suppose beta. The angle is beta. Q by sine beta. If we come to this one, this is R by sine gamma. So this ratio is constant. This P by sin alpha is equal to Q by sin beta is equal to R by sin gamma. It is constant if the three forces cause equilibrium at this point. So here, can you prove this? It's a very easy proof. You can do it, no problem. We can apply it to solve also numericals, very long numericals. We can do very easily if we know this method. So let's prove it. As they cause equilibrium, P plus Q plus R is equal to 0. So implies that P plus Q is equal to minus R. Then you cross the R in both sides. Then you cross the R in both sides. This is R plus R. So you are getting P, or you cross here Q. No problem. Any quantity you can cross. No problem. So P cross Q plus Q cross Q. I just open the bracket here. This is minus R cross Q. But to make it in order, first P, then Q, then R comes. So let's make it Q cross R. Okay, what we are getting here? Q cross Q is 0. So P cross Q is equal to Q cross R. This is equation number 1. Keep it. Then again come to this one. So again P plus Q plus R is equal to 0. Again P plus Q plus R is equal to 0. So implies that P plus Q is equal to minus R. So P plus Q cross, you do cross with P, minus R cross P. So implies that P cross P, I open the bracket, Q cross P is equal to this one. So I kept the minus sign like this because already it is in order. After R, P comes. Let's keep it like this. So this one cross product is 0 because P cross P is equal to 0. So it comes Q cross P. So take the minus sign to this side. Q cross P is equal to R cross P. So as it is not in order, we can make it in order. If minus sign is multiplied, this order changes now. So this is equation number 2. So I always try to keep them in order. P cross Q, then Q cross R, then R cross P. You will see equation 1 and equation 2. So what you mark here? From equation 1 and 2, so what we get here? You see what we get here? We will get now this relation. P cross Q, Q cross R, R cross P. So you take mod of all these three quantities. If the cross product same, then also their mod are same. Let's take the mod of the three quantities. This is R cross P. So P cross Q, PQ sine, what is the angle between P and Q? Gamma. QR, what is the angle between them? Between Q and R? Alpha. R and P, what is the angle between them? Between R and P? This is beta. So you divide in each term. In each term you divide PQR. PQR. Here also PQR. So what we are getting? Sin gamma by R, sin alpha by P, sin beta by Q. You just reverse them and now keep it P by sin alpha, Q by sin beta, then R by sin gamma. So now your Lami's theorem is proved here. This is your Lami's theorem. So today we discuss about cross product and Lami's theorem.